Barbara Eden entered America's living rooms with a warm smile and an effortless charm that made her seem untouched by hardship. To millions, she was the playful genie in pink, cheerful, obedient, and endlessly magical. Yet behind that carefully maintained image was a life shaped by loss, endurance, and quiet strength that few people ever saw. The woman audiences adored survived circumstances that would have broken many others, and she did it while carrying the expectations of a nation that wanted her to remain light, lovely, and silent about her pain. She was born Barbara Jean Moorhead on August 23, 1931, in Tucson, Arizona, during the Great Depression. Money was scarce from the beginning. Her parents did what they could to stretch every dollar, and luxury was never part of her childhood. What her home lacked in material comfort, her mother tried to replace with music. Alice Eden sang constantly, filling their small spaces with melodies that offered comfort and hope. Those songs settled deep inside Barbara long before she understood their importance. When her parents divorced while she was still very young, she moved with her mother to San Francisco. Life remained financially tight, but the household was filled with stories, resilience, and the steady presence of music. Growing up in San Francisco's Parkside neighborhood, Barbara developed a strong sense of identity tied to family history. Her grandparents had arrived in California under dramatic circumstances, one by covered wagon and the other by clipper ship, and those stories gave her a sense of belonging and strength. At 8 years old, she sang her first solo in church, and the applause changed something in her forever. She felt seen, heard, and alive in a way she never had before. That moment planted the idea that the stage might one day be her home. As a teenager, she joined local bands and performed wherever she could, often earning very little but gaining confidence with every song. Band leaders helped guide her early performances, and long nights under bright lights taught her discipline and courage. She studied voice seriously at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music and trained in acting at the Elizabeth Holloway School of Theater. After graduating high school in 1949, she continued studying theater at City College of San Francisco, slowly shaping herself into someone who believed she belonged in front of an audience. In 1951, she won the title of Miss San Francisco, using the name Barbara Huffman. Though she did not win Miss California, the exposure opened doors. By 1954, she moved to Los Angeles, where reality hit hard. She worked in a bank, danced as a chorus girl for modest pay, modeled when she could, and sang at nightclubs just to survive. The glamour of Hollywood was still far away, but she refused to give up. Small television appearances followed, including an uncredited singing role on The Johnny Carson Show. Each job built her resume and brought her closer to stability. In 1956, she signed a contract with 20th Century Fox and made her film debut in Back from Eternity. The role was small, but it marked her official arrival in Hollywood. Television work followed, most notably How to Marry a Millionaire, where her comedic timing and natural warmth began to win over audiences. Film roles continued to grow, including Flaming Star opposite Elvis Presley, where her quiet strength and emotional presence stood out. She remembered Presley as kind and serious about his craft, a contrast to his public image. By the early 1960s, her career was steadily rising. She appeared in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, 5 Weeks in a Balloon, and The Brass Bottle. It was that last film that caught the attention of producer Sidney Sheldon, who immediately knew she was perfect for a new television concept centered on a genie. In 1965, I Dream of Jeannie premiered, and Barbara Eden became an icon almost overnight. The show brought fame, but it also brought intense pressure. Network executives obsessed over modesty, insisting her costume cover her body in ways that now seem absurd. Her belly button became a cultural controversy, symbolizing the strict censorship of the era. While audiences saw magic and whimsy, Eden navigated pregnancy during the first season, hiding her growing belly behind props and clever camera angles. She gave birth to her son Matthew in 1965, returning to work shortly afterward without complaint. Behind the scenes, the atmosphere was often tense. Her co-star Larry Hagman struggled with mood swings, jealousy, and substance issues, sometimes lashing out on set. Eden absorbed much of that stress quietly, maintaining professionalism and even defending him when producers considered firing him. Her calm presence helped hold the show together, even when her own personal life was unraveling. In 1967, She suffered a devastating loss when she became pregnant again, and learned late in the pregnancy that the baby had died. Doctors told her she had to carry the child for weeks before delivering him stillborn. She continued working through the grief, smiling for cameras and never seeking therapy. The pain followed her for decades and deeply affected her marriage to actor Michael Ansara. They divorced in 1974, though they remained friends for the rest of his life. As her career continued, her personal struggles deepened. Her son Matthew battled addiction from a young age, a fight that consumed much of her emotional energy. Her second marriage to Charles Fiegert turned abusive, leaving her trapped in fear and isolation for years until she finally left in the mid-1980s. Publicly, she remained composed. Privately, she endured physical and emotional harm in silence. Professionally, she worked hard to redefine herself beyond the genie. Harper Valley PDA in 1978 showcased a sharper, more assertive character and earned her critical praise and a Golden Globe nomination. Stage work followed, including acclaimed performances in musical theater that reminded audiences of her vocal power and dramatic depth. Television movies, guest roles and a return to Genie in reunion specials kept her connected to fans, even as she carried private sorrow. In 2001, tragedy struck again when Matthew died at 35 from a heroin overdose. The loss shattered her. In the aftermath, she became a vocal advocate for drug prevention, sharing her story publicly to help other families feel less alone. Speaking about her pain became a form of purpose, turning grief into outreach. In later years, Barbara Eden reflected openly on her life. Her memoir revealed the truth behind the magic, the losses, the abuse, the endurance required to survive fame. By her 90s, she spoke candidly about the pressures placed on her body, her silence, and her smile. She rejected the label of sex symbol, and instead emphasized resilience, survival, and growth. The image of Genie remains timeless, but the woman behind it lived a life marked by courage. Barbara Eden did not simply play a magical character. She became one by surviving again and again, and choosing to keep going when the illusion faded and the real world demanded strength.